They were not meant to exist. And yet, they were made. In secret, beneath the sleeping hills, Aule, one of the Valar, forged them from stone. Not out of rebellion, but from love. Love for the beauty of the world and pity for its loneliness. And so the dwarves came to be, children of stone, strong and unyielding. But in Ilúvatar's design, they were never meant to walk this world. In the great music, only elves and men were given a place. Aule's work was something that should have been erased. And yet, instead of destroying them, Ilúvatar chose to let them live and to bind them into his story in a different way. For it was Aule who first imagined such beings, the smith of the Valar, whose heart burned with the fire of creation itself. In the beginning, the Valar shaped the world according to Ilúvatar's will, each with their own gift, their own purpose. And among them, none loved the work of making more than Aule. He was the builder, the craftsman, the one who found beauty not only in light and song, but in the deep strength of the earth itself. While others wove the skies and seas, Aule worked in the quiet places below, forging mountains, shaping the roots of the world, and teaching the very stones to sing in harmony. And yet, within his heart grew a quiet sorrow. The world he loved was still and silent, waiting for the voices that had not yet come. He longed for minds that could understand his craft, for hands that could build beside his own. He knew of Ilúvatar's design, that one day, the children of Ilúvatar, elves and men, would awaken and walk the lands of Arda. But he could not wait. His heart yearned for company, for minds that would understand his art. And so, in secret, beneath the sleeping hills, Aule gathered stone and flame. He labored in the deep places of the world, and from his forge he shaped 7 forms, sturdy and strong, with beards of fire and eyes like gems. He called them the Dwarves. He loved them deeply and taught them to stand firm and fearless, for he knew the world would one day face darkness. But when he looked upon them, his joy turned to sorrow, for though they stood before him in shape and beauty, they did not move. Their lips did not speak, their hearts did not beat. Aule could shape their bodies, but only Eru Ilúvatar, the one above all powers, could give them life. Aule looked at them in silence, proud of their form, yet saddened that they could not move. In that moment, he understood the limit of his craft. He could build mountains and shape the earth, but life was beyond his reach. Then a voice filled his hall. A voice like thunder and whisper all at once. Eru spoke.
Aule, my child, why have you done this? Do you seek to rival me? To create as I create?
Aule fell to his knees. He trembled, for he knew he had overstepped his place. My lord, I meant no defiance. My heart was filled only with love for your world and a longing to share in its beauty. But if I have erred, I will correct my mistake. He turned to the dwarves, his creations, and lifted his hammer. Tears fell upon the anvil as he whispered a final prayer. But before the blow could fall, Ilúvatar spoke again.
Do you truly wish to destroy what you made in love?
And in that moment, the dwarves stirred. They drew breath. Their eyes opened, bright as stars beneath stone. Ilúvatar, in his mercy, granted them life. Yet he spoke once more.
These shall sleep until my firstborn awaken, for they were made before their time.
And so it was decreed. The dwarves were laid to rest deep within the earth, until the day when the elves awoke under the stars. Then they too would rise, to walk the same world, each with their own purpose and fate. And so the 7 fathers of the dwarves were born, children of stone and fire, forged by the hands of a god, and blessed by the mercy of the One. The dwarves had been granted life, but their awakening was not immediate. They were to sleep beneath the earth, waiting until the firstborn, the elves, had taken their first steps upon Middle-earth. And so, in the deep caverns of the world, the dwarves rested in silence. As the centuries passed, the elves awoke under the stars of Cuiviénen, and the world began to stir with the first songs of life. The dwarves waited patiently beneath the earth, their time yet to come. And when the elves spread across Middle-earth, building kingdoms and forging bonds with the Valar, the world was no longer empty and silent. Its first songs had begun, and at last, the hour of Aule's children arrived. From the depths of stone, the seven fathers stirred. For ages they had lain unmoving in the dark, but now, some distant echo of the music reached them, and what had once been only shape and promise became waking thought. Their first breath was like a low rumble through the roots of the mountains, a deep exhale of rock and fire. Eyes opened in the blackness, clear, hard, and bright. They did not wake to open sky or gentle starlight, but to cold caverns, glowing embers, and the weight of stone above. Yet for them, this was no prison, it was home. Of all who rose in that hour, one stood first among them, Durin, eldest of the seven, the one later known in legends as the Deathless. He walked alone for a time through unshaped chambers and narrow tunnels, following faint glimmers of light and the quiet call of flowing water. At last he came to a still lake beneath the mountain. The surface was black as polished obsidian, yet when he looked down, he saw a crown of stars reflected above his head, shining like scattered jewels in the night. That vision marked him and the place forever. In ages to come, the lake would be known as Keled Zaram, the Mirror, and near its shores, Durin's folk would found Khazad Dûm, greatest of all their halls. The other six fathers also gathered their own people around them, and each became the founder of a new house. They spread outward from the roots of the mountains into many lands, beneath the cold peaks of the north, in the long ranges of the east, and under lonely, wind-scoured heights that no elf ever cared to claim. Where others saw only bare cliffs and dead stone, they saw hidden promise. Veins of ore yet untouched, vast halls waiting to be carved, silent caverns that could one day ring with hammer and song. Thus rose the first strongholds of their kind, stubborn, secret realms, bound together by tunnels, trade, and an unspoken brotherhood of stone. As the years passed, the world grew fuller. The halls of the dwarves deepened, the realms of the elves spread through the forests, and the houses of men began to rise upon the plains. In time, the paths of dwarves, elves, and men crossed. They now lived beneath the same stars, yet carried very different hearts. The Eldar watched this stone-born folk with wary eyes. They seemed hard, abrupt, too swift to anger, and they hid their true names and language behind guarded lips. To the dwarves, in turn, the elves were strange and distant. Beautiful, yes, but given to dreams and songs that floated far above the earth they loved. Still, out of suspicion grew necessity, and out of necessity, some respect. Trade slowly grew between them. Jewels and steel passed from deep halls to fair elven cities, and from the realms of men came food, timber, and news of the wider world. Friendship was rare but powerful when it appeared. Yet the differences between these children of Iluvatar did not end at the borders of life. In their own traditions, the dwarves say that when one of them dies, his spirit does not take the same road as that of elves or men. They believe that Aule calls them to halls prepared for them alone, silent mansions apart from the other children, where they wait as if they were still beneath the mountains, steadfast, patient, surrounded by stone. There they remain, they say, until the end of all things, for in the oldest tales whispered in their tongue, there is a promise. When the world is broken and remade, when the final note of the music is played, Aule will summon them forth once more. Then they will take up their tools again and stand beside their maker to rebuild Arda from its ruins. New mountains will rise under their hands, halls and foundations will be laid stronger than before, and the craft they love will finally exist in a world where no shadow can twist or destroy it. To some among elves and men, they have always seemed like a lesser people, short of stature, slow to trust, too concerned with gold and stone. But in their own telling, they are more than a stubborn folk hidden in the dark. They are workers chosen for the final great task, servants of a purpose that reaches beyond their own lives and kingdoms. Forged from rock, awakened in secret, and bound by mercy into a story they were never meant to share, the first dwarves stand as a reminder that even what lies outside the original design can be given a place, a purpose, and a song in the great music of the world. If you want to see how that same music brought the first elves into the world, watch this video about the elves and their fall. Until next time.